I'm being forcibly removed from the building again of a public lobby, so.
So if you want to take off that gun and badge, I'm happy to scrap with you one day. You want to do it, let's do it. Let me know, buddy.
That is not a crime, and you're telling me to get out of my vehicle.
Do you know where Lieutenant Mingus is right now? So no, he's not in the building?
I don't know. I'm not.
What do you know? I'm not telling you nothing else until I find out who's driving that vehicle. You not a supervisor, bro. I need somebody higher than you right now.
I didn't break the law. I'm not going to be found guilty of anything. This is a waste of time. If you guys want to know who I am, I'll tell you who I am. Okay. You want to know what I'm doing here? I'll tell you what I'm doing here.
If you didn't know, I went to the police academy and they kicked me out.
That's my purse! I don't know you!
Spit me on my face right now! She spit in my face!
Today's video takes us to Newport News, Virginia, where we find our Frauditor, Humpty Dumpty, and his lovely wife, Mrs. Potato Head, as they report to the Justice Center, and he's going to have to fill out his paperwork for probation. But there's a wrinkle. Oh, dearie me. Sit back, watch, and enjoy!
Morning, everybody. I've got to get some video in while we're still allowed.
Yeah.
So here we are on our way to the Justice Building. We're gonna go in here today and try to be intaken by Miss Skinner of the Community Corrections, who's already been proven a liar. She says, though, that they've decided that they're going to compromise and they're going to allow me to audio record my session today. So we're going here for our session, and we are going to audio record it, because once a liar, always a liar, and when you work for the state, that's a requirement. So here we go.
This guy really does remind me of Humpty Dumpty, though. His egg-shaped head. And somebody gave me a name for his lovely wife. We're going to call her Mrs. Potato Head from now on. Yeah, so we have Humpty Dumpty and Mrs. Potato Head. Oh, I love those names. Well, let's carry on. Let's find out what happens inside.
A few minutes later.
Hi there.
How are you?
Terrible.
I have some paper. Did you have to walk the stairs?
I did.
I'm very sorry.
How come they don't shut it down like they shut down the Z-View apartments over there when their elevators are broken?
I don't know. Be fine. All right, I've got some paperwork for you to fill out.
All right.
Everybody's favorite. This is front and back.
Okay.
You bring it back. Just bring the clipboard back up here to me, please, when you're done.
Okay.
There's some golf pencils behind you.
Okay.
Okay.
The little one, Sarah. How cute is she?
Yeah, that's the Frauditor's wife, Mrs. Potato Head. Maybe that's why he's always pissed off and in such a lousy mood. Well, just remember, Christopher, it's better to be pissed off than pissed on. Of course, unless you like that sort of thing.
Have you ever been under community corrections or pre-trial supervision? No. Are you currently under community corrections or pre-trial supervision? No. Are you a registered sex offender? Nope. Are you a convicted felon? Yes. Name.
Imagine that. A frauditor who's a convicted felon. I would have never guessed that, Christopher. I might have guessed a sex offender. But at any rate, I have to cut it off here because Christopher doxes himself. Now, if he wants to dox himself, that's up to him. But filling out all your personal information on a video and uploading it to YouTube is not the brightest idea. So let's carry on.
10 minutes later.
If you walked in here and we think you're under the influence of drugs, we would have a right to drug test you. You won't be drug tested on a regular basis.
But it could be randomly even if I don't appear to be under the influence. I mean, because I voluntarily submit, so that means that it's at your discretion when to decide whether or not I need to be tested.
Like I said, we will only test you if we feel like we need to.
Not use, possess, or consume unlawful drugs or narcotics. Now, marijuana is now legal in the Commonwealth of Virginia, so
it's decriminalized.
Possession and use is legal, up to an ounce.
Like I say, it is decriminalized. It is not legal.
Okay. Not change my residence or telephone number. I won't be doing that. Report any changes in employment or personal status. What is personal status? Like if I get divorced?
If you get married, if you get divorced, those type of things, yes.
How does those things affect? I mean, I don't understand what that would need, why they would need to know whether I'm married or single, or if it changes.
It's part of...
Well, now, I tell you something, Humpty Dumpty. We wouldn't hold it against you if you were to get divorced, and I don't think your parole officer would either. Oh, boy, just look at her. She's a real prize, I tell you that. Where'd you find her at? Oh, you were drunk one night in the cowboy bar? I understand.
Our risk assessment that we do, that you are court ordered to participate in.
Report any changes in employment or personal status. Not leave the Tidewater Williamsburg area. So how
mainly it's just not leaving the state without travel papers. If you're planning to go to Florida,
papers.
That way if you were to get stopped.
So let me get this right. I'm on probation for a misdemeanor charge, and I have to check in with the state to leave the state.
Yes, sir.
So I am waiving my rights to travel freely about the country by being here.
You just need to tell us, and we will give you paperwork so that if you get stopped in Florida or wherever you go, they'll know that you had permission to leave the state.
Okay. Permit you to visit my home and place of employment. You will visit how? Like come in my house?
If we ever couldn't locate you, we do have a right to try to find you.
Not use, own, possess, transport, or carry a firearm. Oh, I won't be able to do that because I'm a felon. So, okay. Follow my local probation officer's instructions and requirements and be truthful and cooperative.
Now, Frauditor, tell the truth. All this because you have a smart mouth, a bad attitude, and you hate the police. Is it all worth it, really? In the long run, is it all worth it? I don't know, man. What happens if you can't drive for Grubhub anymore? Who's going to drive your wife around? Oh, the next door neighbor? Oh, I got you.
Gosh, I got to work for the state because I wouldn't have to check that one. I will appear in court for all proceedings ordered by the court. I do actually have court dates, so I'm going to have to bring that up here in a moment.
Is it for this case, though?
No,
then
it's not.
The only court dates we worry about would be the ones that are involved in this court date.
Oh, okay.
In this case. So we don't need to know your other court dates unless you just want to give them to us.
Well, I mean, I'm supposed to tell you up here if I get in trouble, right? Any new arrests or citations.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I've been charged with more crimes.
Oh, okay.
So, part of my supervision, complete the following. The 100 hours of community service, which I assume I have a full year from the time of the sentencing date. Is that how that works? I have from the 12th of October to do 100 hours, or is there...
We request that you do a certain number of hours a week.
Oh, is it every week?
Or once a month. We would like you to get so many done a month. If you get all your hours done in 3 months, 4 months, we can close your case out and you'll no longer be on probation.
Well, see, here's what my question is, though. Because my case is on appeals to the appeals court, what happens if I do all my community service hours and then my case is overturned? Is there some way that I get compensated for the time and effort I put into it?
You appealed this case?
Yeah. It's on the appeals court docket now.
Okay.
Frauditor, you indeed are a real pile of trash. You're worried about 100 hours community service? What, are you on the dole? Get a job. Man, come on. Do something good for the community. You know what they should have you do? They should have you work with the homeless people and find out what it's like to be homeless and not on the dole. Yeah, matter of fact, they should take your benefits away for a couple months. Unfortunately, at least for us, the Frauditor filed an appeal on this case, and so all of this was for nothing. He leaves the Justice Center, and he's not currently on community intake probation. But if he loses the appeal, he will be. Now let's look at him. He's all happy. Look at him.
Well, much to their chagrin, they don't get to community correct me. Always plead not guilty. Always file an appeal. Because it just stops them dead in their tracks. Because they can't do anything. Because it's still pending in the courts. And all I got was some souvenirs. So that was a big waste of time.
Yeah, it was a big waste of time. It was a big waste of time.
Came off.
So I got up the same time that these people get up, but I'll be working for 5-6 hours later than these people will be working, all for punk ass bitches on YouTube to say, oh, you're lazy and you don't do anything.
Yeah, well, they say a lot of things on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, people say a lot of things on YouTube, Christopher, but you always remember that Dr. Dave, the beer professor, said that you're Humpty Dumpty. He's giving you that moniker, and it's going to stick. You know what it's going to stick like? Oh, well, I won't say that. Let your mind wander, though, sweetheart.
So anyways, long story short, I'm no longer being community corrected because my matter's on appeal to the appeals court.
So,
So, fuck community corrections.
at least today. Because I have it's going to get overturned in appellate court. And we had talked about that, about wondering about how things were going to be dealt with if it was overturned. And now we know, right, that they won't punish you, which is interesting. That's interesting. So,
well, that's how it came up. That's what, like I was saying, as I asked her, I said, so my case is on appeal to the appeals court now, and if the decision is overturned and I've already done my community service, is there going to be some sort of compensation for my time and effort? And then she's like, oh, it's on appeal. You can get probation in the general district court?
Yeah, you can.
Damn. Appeal, people, you got to use your appeal. Don't let them do it to you in general district court. 95%
of convictions are on plea deals. The situation that we have in our judicial system in this country, as much as we may dislike it, is our own damn fault.
Well, there you have it, folks. Mrs. Potato Head's all happy because her hubby, Humpty Dumpty, escaped his probation, at least temporarily. Yeah, but he's a bad boy, and it's only a matter of time until he winds up in more trouble, because he got a big, smart mouth that he just can't keep shut. Well, I'll keep an eye on him to see what happens, but in the meantime, if you enjoy watching idiots, imbeciles, and morons on my channel, please subscribe. As always, thanks so much for stopping by. Cheers to that.